Hey, this is Buck Dharma of Blue Oyster Cult, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Welcome to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster, Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. Today's show is brought to you by UppercutChops.com. Check out their tasty selection of all natural, dry-aged USDA, prime Angus, and Wagyu steaks and chops. Wait till you taste their best-in-class New York steaks, the filet mignon, of course, the king of all those gigantic cowboy cut and tomahawk cut ribeyes. Best I've ever had. Probably be the best you ever have as well. Check them out at UppercutChops.com. That's UppercutChops.com. Or give them a call. Find out what's for dinner. 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. Again, 714-948-0100 for UppercutChops.com. All right, welcome into everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates and independents on radio. Everybody watching on Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Oceanic, Time Warner, Spectrum, Wild Charter, and independent cable affiliates. Plus, of course, our affiliate over in the California Central Valley on CBS, Channel 47, and NBC, Channel 24, KSEE, over in the Central Valley out of Fresno. Plus, everybody streaming on Pick Your Favorite Streamer, and on those on Chicago Food Favorites. Check out Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook, a fun group. Talk about your favorite foods, your favorite restaurants, your favorite recipes. Make some friends, have some fun. Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. Also, our friends over at Vacation Buddies giving away a couple of nights right here in fabulous Las Vegas. Better yet, it's not just Vegas. It's Vegas, Orlando, Florida, even Scottsdale, Arizona. That's right, Scottsdale, Arizona. And if you know the answer to a very simple trivia question, and if you do, you'll pick up your 2 free nights in Las Vegas, Orlando, or Scottsdale, Arizona. Here's the question. Which of these cities is home to the tallest building in America? Is it A, New York, B, Chicago, C, Los Angeles? If you know the answer, call 702-603-1414, 702-603-1414, 702-603-1414. Vacation Buddies is not affiliated with this station, but they want to give you a couple of nights in Vegas, Orlando, Florida, or Scottsdale, Arizona. If you know the answer, call 702-603-1414. Call now. All right. So our friends over there want to do something nice for you. And guess what? We think of people doing nice things, but we also think of pressure. Sometimes it's the old quid pro quo. Sometimes people will do something because they want something in return. Well, that's not what we do here on the circus. No. What we do here is we will fill your head with all kinds of stuff. Some you'll like, some you may not like. Most of it has really good factual background. Other is editorial by me. But if I give you editorial, it's because of my experience or my knowledge base is X, whatever that means. And usually it is beyond a reasonable doubt or 88% true. So the good news is that I give you good information. The better news is that I can actually add my own opinion. And look, I got to tell you, there is a lot of pressure in playing sports. It's not just sports at the pro level, which I've seen that movie, but also the collegiate level, there's a lot of it. And even high school sports, or how about Little League Baseball? Little League Baseball, I remember back when I was a kid, and look, I never played baseball organized-wise until I was 12 years old. That was the first year I ever played organized baseball. And I was a playground legend prior to in the painted box on the wall game, the fast pitch game. So if you don't know what that is, you have your regular 60 foot 6 inches from the wall of pick your favorite building with a painted square, which is actually a strike zone. And then you have your pitching mound area, which, again, it's just flat area to flat area. There's no mound. So you're playing on a playground. It's just one line to another line, one line to the wall, so to say, 60 foot away, or 20 steps. 20 steps, every step is about 3 foot. Therefore, it's right around there. All right, and so you also have some natural barriers out there for your fair and foul and singles or base hits, of course, ground balls or whatnot. Anything past the pitcher, because it's really a one-on-one baseball game. And then you've got your fair and foul. You'll use imaginary markers or whatnot, or maybe a basketball hoop on one side or a fence line on another side, then over a fence for a home run or something like that. There's all kinds of ways to delineate what you want as your singles, doubles, triples, home run, whatever. Right? And so you think of that kind of a game, a one-on-one game. That's what I was really good at when I was a kid. And then my sister convinced me to play Little League, which I really didn't want to because I just liked the playground game. Anyway, so I played Little League when I was 12 years old, and I was the little fat kid. That was me. I wasn't severely overweight, but I liked Bub's Daddy's Gum and candy bars and stuff. Well, guess what? I still like Bub's Daddy's Gum if it's available. I still love candy bars and whatnot anyway. But the difference is I'm actually in pretty good shape today, and that's the good news. Could be in better shape, but then again, I guess we always are. But when we think about pressure, I didn't know what the team pressure aspect was because I only played one-on-one. And when I look at it, I say, all right, what kind of pressure did I have? All right, the new dynamic in the first place of playing with a bunch of people on 9 guys on the field at one time versus one-on-one. So it was a little bit different. The experience of playing Little League, it was the team game. Now, the only other team sport that I ever played officially up until 12 years old, I was actually on a bowling team. And so, yeah, there were 4 people on the bowling team. And that was fun and dandy and all that. But, it wasn't like being on the baseball field. The baseball field, of course, you've got all your position players 1 through 9. And then you also have the other team to think about. There's a lot going on the baseball field. If you've never played baseball, well, I'm going to try to give you an idea of what it's like from a pressure standpoint. So not only do you have to play your position, that's why we have practices and we have to make sure that we field the ball, we take infield, we take outfield, we have pitching practice, we have catching practice, we have hitting practice, we have situational baseball practice, we have all kinds of metrics. And so there's a lot going on the field. People say, well, baseball's boring. Not if you're in the game and not if you actually understand the game to the level where you're actually participating in something greater than you or greater than a one-person setup. And that's the point that I'm trying to make here. In the grand scheme of things, baseball is a very complex game, and you have to have a short memory in baseball. I mean, you may have struck out 3 times in a row, but you've got to have a short memory. Meaning, if you struck out once, all right, get back up there and do it again. Well, you're only as good as your last performance. That's what the other team knows. That's what the scouts know as you go up the system. But let's just take Little League, for example. All right, well, you're going to have to get over it. So you struck out. Guess what? You got up there, you struck out again. Guess what? You got up there, boom. And you've got the silver sombrero, right? So you've struck out 3 times, right? And I guess depending on what state, so we'll go strike out 3 times in a game. All right, and if I'm not mistaken, see, I know in my team, in ours, we actually had the silver sombrero. It was the 3 strikeouts. And then 4 strikeouts was, of course, the golden sombrero. And, of course, 5 strikeouts was the platinum sombrero. All right, and that kind of checks out as far as pick your favorite search engine, and you think of it, well, some people call it a hat trick. Well, in hockey, you have a hat trick. That's 3 goals. So that's demeaning to a hat trick in hockey by having 3 strikeouts. That, to me, that doesn't make sense. But just here's kind of an interesting thing. We think about the terminology. It is what it is. But we think of commonality. Now, although it seems like a very poor performance, many, 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 many Hall of Famers have done this multiple times. In fact, Babe Ruth struck out 3 times in one game, 23 times. Reginald Martinez Jackson, 141 times. But guess what? That's not even the record. The record's a long ways away from there. 173 times by former big slugger Adam Dunn. Man, that's a lot of strikeouts. That's one of those things. I mean, Dave Kingman, we used to joke about him when he played with the Cubs back when I was a little kid. Well, Dave Kingman, either it's a home run or he strikes out. And Adam Dunn, very much the same thing. But when you think of the idea that a guy like Tony Gwynn, one of the greatest hitters the game ever saw, rest his soul, it took Tony Gwynn 462 games. Man, that's a lot of games. You're talking 3 seasons, essentially, to record his first 3 strikeout games. And guess what? He only did it twice in his entire career. That's how good of a hitter Tony Gwynn was. And the only guy that I could say that's in the same category, and he looks like him hitting, he's got the same bat speed as Luis Ariz. He's won a few batting titles as well. And when you look at these guys, you're like, wow, they are absolute students of the game. But it all starts when you're a kid, right? So the silver sombrero, golden sombrero, platinum sombrero, whatever. Look, there's a ton of pressure. So you got to have a short memory when you're playing baseball. And we're starting here talking about Little League. We're not even really going to even talk about big leagues today. There's a ton of pressure out there, folks. Tell you what, a little bit of pressure here, relief for a few minutes on the Sports Circus, back here in just a few moments. Don't go anywhere.
Attention business owners, you and your customers are listening to this right now. Face it, every business needs customers, even yours. The Sports Circus is a primetime nationally syndicated program that's carried on ABC, NBC, CNBC, and Westwood One News affiliates, plus CBS, Fox, and NBC Sports affiliates across North America, with coverage from Hawaii to New York. Also, the Sports Circus is available to the 180 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, and the Sports Circus gets about 4 million website visitors per month, which could click through your website and bring sales. The Sports Circus provides great content featuring celebrity guests from sports and entertainment to our audience every weekday, which your company could greatly benefit from by increasing your visibility, foot traffic, eyeballs to your website, and calls from potential customers. Call us right now at
714-948-0100. Again, 714-948-0100.
Or email us at info@thesportscircus.com. That's info@thesportscircus.com. Drive your sales today by advertising with the Sports Circus.
Do you know someone with a drug or alcohol problem? Get help right now. Insurance may cover everything. Stop the drug and alcohol nightmare. Are drug and alcohol problems hitting you too close to home? Get help right now. Insurance may cover everything.
800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. That's 800-831-1560.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. Beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. Beepinautos.com. BEEPIN autos.com. Beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business when you need it most. Trusted since 2013. Just click Find Me a Car at beepinautos.com.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UpperCutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes, are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UpperCutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UpperCutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door, without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average and best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at UpperCutChops.com or call 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. Or make your selection directly at UpperCutChops.com.
to the Sports Circus. I'm Roy Firestone. Now it's time to throw it back to Sal.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster, Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. Folks, this segment brought to you in part by our friends over at the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. Check them out at csncoyotes.com for upcoming games and events. That's the College of Southern Nevada Athletics, csncoyotes.com. Check them out, folks. All right, welcome back to everybody. Listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates on radio. Big shout out to our friends over in Atlanta, waking up with us, listening in at 8 a.m. Monday through Friday, WDJY 99.1 FM. Right down the road over in Auburn, Alabama, War Eagle, our friends from Montgomery, all the way over to Columbus, Georgia, listening in on WAUD on their way home, 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. Thanks for joining us there on the home of the Atlanta Braves. Through the Midwest, out to the West Coast, those driving between sunny Southern California and right here in Las Vegas, listening in on Highway Country Radio 101.5 FM and 107.3 FM. That's home of the Vegas Golden Knights, the Raiders, and the Sports Circus at 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. Up and down the West Coast, Anchorage, Alaska, all the way down to CBS Sports 1500 over in Honolulu, home of the New York Yankees, San Francisco 49ers, and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Welcome in to everybody over there driving in with us. Better yet, maybe even driving home with us on that afternoon drive, plus everybody watching on Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Oceanic, Time Warner, Spectre, Wild Charter, Channel 47 over in Fresno, California, Channel 24 as well. That's NBC and CBS, the two. And, of course, that's California Central Valley. Make sure you check them out. Also, pick up that app. You can stream it anywhere you go. And, by the way, a big welcome into everybody on Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. Talk about your favorite foods, your favorite restaurants, your favorite recipes with your friends. Make some new friends over at Chicago Food Favorites, a fun group. And listen, folks, we started from zero, and now there's over 4,200 members for Chicago Food Favorites. Yeah, that's good stuff. That's really good stuff. By the way, really good stuff. If you want a couple of nights right here in Las Vegas or Orlando, Florida, or Scottsdale, Arizona, Vacation Buddies gave away a couple of nights at the top of the show, and guess what? They're going to go ahead and give away a little bit more. If you know the answer to the simple trivia question, you can call the number I give you right afterwards, claim your 2 free nights in Las Vegas, Orlando, Florida, or Scottsdale, Arizona. Here's the question. Which of these cities is home to the tallest building in America? It's A, New York, or B, Chicago, or C, Los Angeles. If you know the answer, call 702-603-1414, 702-603-1414. Again, 702-603-1414. Vacation Buddies is not affiliated with this station, but they want to give you a couple of nights in Las Vegas, Orlando, Florida, or Scottsdale, Arizona. And if you know the answer to that very simple trivia question, 702-603-1414. Call now. So in the first segment, speaking about pressures in Little League Baseball and the things that happen. Look, folks, you've got to have a very, very short memory when it comes to playing sports, let alone baseball, because here you've got 9 guys or girls on the field on each team, and then you've got individual performance. So it's not as in everybody is participating in every play. No, I mean, listen, folks, there's a lot of pressure having the spotlight on you. If you're not a good hitter, or if you have a hard time throwing the ball or hitting the ball or whatever, when it's your turn, if you're not very good at it, the team can help pick up the slack a little bit. But I mean, if it comes to hitting a baseball, that's the one thing. Let's say you're striking out, you're striking out, you're striking out. Got to have a short memory, folks. And you got to get in there because maybe on your fourth at bat, you might get a base hit. You might make contact. There might be an error. You might get on base. The goal is to get on base. My first year, as I was mentioning in the first segment, when I was 12 years old, a lot of pressure playing from a one-on-one game on the playground to a 9-on-9 game on the field. Very different dynamic. And listen, Little League Baseball pressures arise from the competition level is really high. Then there's, of course, these traveling leagues and these travel ball organizations. And now, I mean, these are, I guess, the standout kids. These are the supersonic kids. I don't know. I do believe that some of it's a little bit overrated. But then again, they have a lot of demands. And then, of course, you have the parents putting a ton of pressure on the kids. And the expectations are sometimes remarkably unrealistic. So what happens with that? And I remember somebody very close to me that I will not name. I remember playing catch. And this was many years ago. I'm playing catch in the front yard of a house in Orange County, Southern California. And somebody says, hey, why don't you come over and play catch with my son? I want him to start playing baseball. I said, okay, I can do that. And my career was at that point, it was over. And so I said, yeah, I've got some free time. And I went over to give a little bit of coaching to the young man. And ironically, he was 12 years old, right? Same age that I started. And I will never forget this as long as I live. The kid had a hard time catching the ball because he was scared of the ball. I get it. I'd been hit in the nose with the ball. My mother threw the ball one time to me, and she was a great athlete. My mom threw the ball. We were playing catch out in front of the house. I lost the ball in the sun because I told her to throw it up in the air a little bit. I lost it, and the ball hit me square in the nose. And I was just on the ground bawling like a little baby. And my mother said, get up, I'll give you something to cry about. So it was like, okay, all right. Right. So I shook it off right away. But my mother grew up in the toughest part of Chicago. So it is what it is. And when you're off on your own at 14, you're out there fighting for your way every day. That's the kind of mentality that happens. So I grew up in a very militant house. And so it was all about that. And so I think about the kid that was scared of catching the ball. I had to get over it quickly, otherwise bad things would have happened to me, I suppose. But nonetheless, this kid's father, the one who called me and said, hey, can you play catch with my son? He said to his kid, I will never forget it as long as I live. He goes, he's saying to the kid, if you don't catch the ball, I'm going to spank you. What kind of monster says that to their kid? First of all, the kid's scared to death of a ball. He's never caught basically a rock that's being thrown back and forth. And this is pretty scary stuff. If you're a kid and you don't know what it's like, you're sticking your hand out with a glove on it, hoping that the ball somehow is captured by that glove. You just kind of throwing it out there like you're olaying the ball, like olay. And so this is what they say in baseball. If you basically stick your hand out and somehow the ball gets caught in the webbing. But the point is, this kid was mortified and he was in tears. And I'm like, hey man, listen, don't worry about catching. And then the father starts yelling at the kid. Now there's a ton of pressure, mind you. This isn't even organized ball. And you've got a 12-year-old kid that is terrified of his father with a very short fuse in the first place. Now think about these little leaguers that are playing that have all this extra pressure from these high leagues. Now, whether you're good or not doesn't even matter at this point. But there is a ton of pressure because you have parents with unrealistic expectations. And then the parents, sometimes they get completely out of control in the seats watching the games. Then the coaches, they have expectations because the kids are already playing at that level anyway. And there's a lot of pressure on the coaches for them to keep their jobs. Think about that. And what does it do? At the end of the day, it makes the kid nervous. Some kids rise to it. Some kids don't. They say, well, that's where the indigenous food chain or the only the fittest survive, right? You think of that. Well, they're like, all right, well, if your kid's good, your kid's going to be there. If not, your kid's going to fall off, whatever. But it causes burnout. I mean, never mind the ridiculous amount of stress for just a little developing person. Think about this from T-ball, maybe kindergarten, first, second, third grade, whatever. The pressure is incredible. And kids, when they make fun of each other, they are absolutely ruthless. They don't know. They don't know anything about empathy. They don't know anything about sympathy. They don't know anything about really hurting people's feelings. I mean, sure, the parents or their guardians, whatever, what do? They give them what's right from what's wrong, hopefully. But kids don't know. They're ruthless, and they could cause a tremendous amount of damage. Now, of course, when we were kids, hey, whatever happened out there on the field or in the playground, that's what happened. Whatever happened in the neighborhood, I mean, the kid across the street from myself and I, Jimmy Laper and I, we used to fist fight almost every day. His parents would be on his front porch. My parents would be on my front porch, and they'd be cheering us on, and we're throwing blows in the middle of Grove Avenue, right, in Oak Park, Illinois. That's what we were doing. And then when we get done fighting, literally throwing punches left, right, and center, when we get wiped out, it's kind of like a hockey fight. Then we go and get some ice cream and go get a candy bar or whatever the hell it is. We had thick skin back then, but the demands from parents and coaches, in my opinion, are remarkably unrealistic. And they don't develop the kids right in the first place where the kids are comfortable. And they do cause burnout and stress and anxiety and all this other fun stuff. I'm going to come back with that in a few minutes here on The Circus. Don't go anywhere. Lots more to come.
If I was your mother and you had a drug problem, I'd grab you by the ear and make you call and get help. You can be in treatment tomorrow and start to get clean in 7 days. Follow Mom's advice and call the Detox and Treatment Helpline now. Write this number down.
800-814-8628. 800-814-8628. 800-814-8628. That's 800-814-8628.
Are you or someone you love struggling with an addiction to drugs or alcohol and want to be set free from the chains of addiction? Then call Addiction Helpline America right now to get the help you need. From drug and alcohol addiction to dual diagnosis treatment, we provide a confidential helpline to help people like you get sober and live happy, substance-free lives.
Treatment helped me get my life back. I was so addicted, the only person I could focus on was myself and what I needed. I hit rock bottom and lost everything. Through treatment, I was able to overcome those demons and focus on my family again.
I used until I overdosed and almost died. That was the end of the road for me. After seeking treatment, I now have hope. I learned skills that help me deal with life on life's terms.
800-426-4994. 800-426-4994. 800-426-4994. That's 800-426-4994.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. Beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. Beepinautos.com. BEEPIN autos.com. Beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business when you need it most. Trusted since 2013. Just click Find Me a Car at beepinautos.com.
Investors, keep listening to learn how to get your free gold report. A currency crisis is upon us. The U.S. dollar has been the world's reserve currency for over 50 years, but that is changing. It's time to protect your retirement. Decades of reckless borrowing and spending have critically weakened the dollar. The U.S. has become the world's biggest debtor with over $35 trillion in debt. Plus, the dollar's become weaponized. Countries are dumping it. Investors who wait until it's too late could lose big. There is one safe haven: gold. Diversify your portfolio with a physical asset they can't take away. Call the Reagan Gold Group right now and ask for your free gold guide. Here's our number:
800-876-7041. 800-876-7041. 800-876-7041. That's 800-876-7041.
Hey everyone, Dave Jackson here, ESPN rules analyst on ESPN Hockey, and you're listening to The Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster, Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. Folks, make sure you check out the sportscircus.com's upcoming guest schedule. Our featured guest, lots of really good guests on here. Hall of Famers, All-Stars, world champions, and even from the entertainment business, Grammy Award winners, Oscar Award-winning actors and producers and directors and billionaire business people, big politician people. You name it, we've had it. Got to tell you, folks, we've been doing this for a long, long time, and people like the show. And guess what? Keep listening, and if you don't like it now, you'll like it down the road. But the content is definitely different. This is not, I guess, your plain vanilla version of sports and entertainment, television, and radio programming. That is for damn sure. All right, welcome back to everybody on TV and radio. And by the way, check out our partners. Lots of great partners at the sportscircus.com's partners page. In fact, our favorite is a food one. It's Al's #1 Italian beef, 1079 West Taylor Street in Chicago's Little Italy. That's 1079 West Taylor Street in Chicago's Little Italy. And if you can't make it there for some great food, check them out at alsbeef.com. That's alsbeef.com, and tell them the circus sent you. All right. So I was talking about the pressure of Little League and the pressure put on the kids. Look, I get it. And you've got this whole name, image, and likeness thing going all the way down to, low levels of sports now anyway. But the first thing we really got to think about is the burnout and mental fatigue side of it. And look, the idea of travel ball is one thing. So now the kids are on the road, they're playing ball, there's pressure to perform, and kids are losing interest or they're quitting because they're saying, you know what, I just want to be a kid. I want to go and have some fun and be a kid. And that's it. Maybe I want to go ride my bicycle or be a Girl Scout or Boy Scout or whatever the hell Scout and do something as a kid. Look, you also have a lot of injuries. The injuries are really mounting up. And think about this. You think of the year-round play without a whole bunch of rest. Now, these are developing bodies. So long-term uses and long-term issues. Look, you've got Little League elbow. That's right. There's actually something called Little League elbow. That's out there. Shoulder injuries. You got Tommy John issues. Those are elbow issues. And you have the whole anxiety side. The fear of failing and falling on your face. Maybe you make a mistake, or maybe you don't meet the mom and dad's or the parental or guardian expectation. Or what about the coaches? And that is a ton of stress. Stress is the #1 killer in the world right now of humans. And then, of course, you've got the proverbial unrealistic goals, right? The pressure to play at a pro level. I saw my own nephew go through this playing professional hockey. And I saw him getting pressure and pressure and pressure to perform at the little level. I think they call them squirts. So he played in squirt hockey, and then he played in one of these other little leagues. Then he finally played in high school hockey, and playing injured, the whole thing. And he was good. And he went on to play at a high level. Then he went into college after that and playing at that level. So pro, college, when you're at the top of the food chain, when it comes to pick your favorite sport, the pressure is inevitable. But the pressure I saw his mother put on him, my sister, just unbelievable amounts of pressure. And it was, in my opinion, and in the opinion even him, it was remarkably unrealistic. And yeah, some of his teammates are still playing in the National Hockey League today and so forth. But the reality is, I saw this happen. And I'm like, what in God's name are you doing here? So there is a ton of stress on these kids. And look, the bigger issue is, look, you're going to have to focus on developing and really developing these kids, not just winning. And let's face it, even Little League officials recommend prioritizing skill acquisition and fun over intermediate and immediate competitive success. So not just the highest level, but something in the middle of the road. Let's give this kid some benchmarks, boy or girl, whatever. And the physical health side of it, again, these are developing bodies. So really, there are pitch count issues. I get it when you're developing. If you're playing professional baseball, I don't believe pitch counts mean anything at that point. I think that is one of those highly overrated and over-focused upon issues. Take a guy like Nolan Ryan could pitch 200 innings or 200 pitches in a game. He's just one of those guys. And there are a lot of guys out there, but now they're restricted. Oh, we only want you pitching as a reliever. We only want you going maybe 20 pitches, and then we're going to put you on the shelf. What kind of crap is that? As a reliever, maybe as a starter, oh, you're only going to go a maximum of 100 pitches. Again, what kind of crap is that? That doesn't make any sense. So, look, the parents and coaches really need to focus on rewarding a good effort, not just a participation trophy. I mean, get out there. Hey, look, the kid tried, and you could see it, where the kid was really putting a big effort forward. And, it's okay to recognize that, whether win or lose. But you got to recognize the effort, the extended effort. Because, look, trying is trying. But when you're actually out there breaking your back, that's another thing. And listen, the parents and coaches, they can see it. Some don't want to see it. And listen, I believe that playing different sports really helps prevent the whole burnout and whatnot. I mean, even in high school, I was a two-sport guy. And I think about the kids growing up. So when I was at 12 years old, yes, I did play football at that time, but I also played baseball. And a lot of the kids that are out there right now, they should be playing soccer and baseball and football all together. That's how I see it. And so honestly, they just don't do it that way. And frankly, the kids really need some variety. And if you don't get the kid out there some variety, well, look, it seems like all the stress is on one thing, but now you've got the behavior of the coaches and the parents to deal with, which is, in many cases, extremely intense, negative, and really, really tough behavior sometimes. I mean, so they're yelling at the kids and creating a really bad environment. It's not even fun at some point. So you think of a focus on one sport at an early age, really, in my opinion, and the opinion of many others, I believe it really can lead to burnout and also injuries. Kids overthrowing, overdoing this, overdoing that. It's just what happens. And so if you're not training right, really, they say, well, winning is everything. I get it. Either you're first or last, Ricky Bobby. But the idea that, look, you got to really develop the game, whatever the game you're playing, develop your skill set. And if you don't practice, somebody once said to me, if I said, well, practice makes perfect, they said, no. Perfect practice makes perfect. And I said, okay, that's a really profound statement. And I use that now. And so that one is a very good one. So you're going to have to really develop your skills, but you've got to understand fundamentals and you got to practice. Let your kids practice, seriously. And really, focus on, in baseball, for example, look, what's going on right now? Situational baseball, for example. Never mind the past. What's happening right now? You're getting the ball. You're a second baseman. You got runners at first and third. It's a one-hopper. Where are you going if there's one out? If there's two outs, where are you going? If there's no outs, where are you going with the ball? Understanding situational baseball is a big thing. And listen, man, talk it up out there. Get out there and support your team. Hey, they dropped the ball. So what? Guess what? We'll pick it up on the other side. We'll get you. And a lot of people don't do that. They yell at their kids from the seats, and I don't even understand that. But even from the hitting standpoint, you're going to have some kind of a pre-pitch routine. Get in the cages. And frankly, I like live pitching better. Live pitching, to me, is so much better than the cages. And nowadays, the cages, they have the wheels instead of the arms that throw the ball. So the timing is off. When you imagine you're getting into a batting cage, folks, so you can understand this one. If you're into a batting cage, whether it's a softball or baseball, a lot of times you have these two wheels. A light would go on, then the ball would get spit out at you, and then you'd have to somehow hit that ball. Well, the light is supposed to be that thing that gets you ready. The problem is there's no motion that you can watch. So there's no slingshot motion like an arm. The old batting cages actually have that, which is what we used when we were kids and playing in the system back then if we weren't hitting live pitching. So the wheels don't do anybody any good. You need the old school batting cage arms that throw the ball, the mechanical arms, so you can get your timing down. So even if you are creating that pre-pitch routine, well, guess what? Maybe that could help manage some of your anxiety, but it's not going to give you the repetitive motion to watch when to swing that ball or swing that bat. And of course, when you're planting that chin on your front shoulder, you're transferring that chin from your front shoulder to your back shoulder. That's right. You're not dropping your hands. You're rolling your knuckles to big knuckles to big knuckles so you can get around in the strike zone a little bit faster. The bat speed will go faster through the hitting area, and therefore you can hit an inside pitch. You take guys like Ohtani, in my opinion, if you pitch this guy inside for the rest of his career, he'd probably hit 220. Most of the balls he'd pop up in the air. The other ones he would probably hit a 99 hopper right back to the pitcher or second base or something like that. The reality is, if your mechanics are not sound, I don't think his mechanics are sound at all at the plate. Yeah, you get any big league hitter to extend their arms, and sure, they're going to do a lot of damage. Seriously, a lot of damage. But you tie him up. You got to learn how to hit. And when you're a kid, you're supposed to learn how to hit, learn some nuances, and then you get fine-tuned as you go up in competition level. Back here in a few minutes on the Sports Circus. Don't go anywhere. I'm your ringmaster Sal of the Sports Circus, a primetime, nationally syndicated television, radio, sports, and entertainment show. The Sports Circus covers topics others are too scared to talk about. There's no other primetime show like it out here that'll punch you in the face and you'll beg for more. Join me, Hall of Famers, world champions, and all-star celebrity guests for chaos and controversy here on Libsyn and all podcast platforms, plus thesportscircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day.
Listen, were you forced into getting a solar contract and now you just don't want it anymore? Maybe the solar company misled you. Or is your solar contract buried with hidden fees? Are you not saving the amount of money you thought you would on your energy costs? Don't worry. At the Solar Exit Hotline, we can help you cancel your solar contract, even if the panels are already installed. Our experienced legal team will review your contract and help you cancel it, possibly saving you thousands of dollars. You got to call right now for complete details. So listen, if you're not happy with your solar contract for any reason, we are here to help you cancel it. Call the Solar Exit Hotline now for immediate options to help you exit your solar contract. This call is 100% free.
800-485-3125. 800-485-3125. 800-485-3125. That's 800-485-3125.
Are you or someone you love struggling with an addiction to drugs or alcohol and want to be set free from the chains of addiction? Then call Addiction Helpline America right now to get the help you need. From drug and alcohol addiction to dual diagnosis treatment, we provide a confidential helpline to help people like you get sober and live happy, substance-free lives.
Treatment helped me get my life back. I was so addicted, the only person I could focus on was myself and what I needed. I hit rock bottom and lost everything. Through treatment, I was able to overcome those demons and focus on my family again.
I used until I overdosed and almost died. That was the end of the road for me. After seeking treatment, I now have hope. I learned skills that help me deal with life on life's terms.
800-426-4994. 800-426-4994. 800-426-4994. That's 800-426-4994.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. Beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. Beepinautos.com. BEEPIN autos.com. Beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business when you need it most. Trusted since 2013. Just click Find Me a Car at beepinautos.com.
Hey everybody, this is Brian Urlacher. Welcome back to the Sports Circus.
Thank you, Brian, and welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. Folks, make sure you check out the store at thesportscircus.com. Lots of great items there. Hats, hoodies, t-shirts, ball caps, beanie caps, sweatpants, coats, pillows, blankets, travel mugs, coffee mugs, mouse pads, you name it. They're all there with the Clever Sports Circus logo on them. Once again, that is the store at thesportscircus.com. And of course, a shameless plug for the Sports Circus. Hey, listen, folks, you get yourself a 10% discount just by mentioning your Ringmaster Sal. That's the store at thesportscircus.com. All right, welcome back, everybody, on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates and independents from coast to coast. Everybody watching on Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Oceanic, Time Warner, Spectrum, Wild Charter, and independent cable affiliates, plus Channel 47 CBS and Channel 24 NBC, KSEE over in Fresno, California, and streaming on that app digitally around the world. Check them out. Of course, that is Central Valley of California. Check them out. In fact, I'm going to give this to you right now just because I can. Central Valley Today. Central Valley Today. And that's CBS 47 and KSEE 24. News from your centralvalley.com. Check them out, folks. Good friends of the circus and really good people. In fact, you can find us there 8 a.m. Monday through Friday as well. All right. Now back to this pressure and whatnot on little leaguers. And you know what I find is that there's a lot of rhetoric out there about how to do this and how to do that, because there's no real, I guess there's no real path. You have to make your own path. And then you think of all the pressures on the kids, and then they end up with something sometimes called Little League Baseball syndrome, right? Essentially, that's Little League elbow, in case you don't know. And it's caused by repetitive overhand throwing in children. So here's the oddity of that. So here, that's according to Wikipedia. And the problem is this. When you're a kid, like when I was a kid, I go back to, I threw 3/4. I would not throw sidearm. I didn't throw over the top. I threw 3/4. And there's a control issue sometimes when you're throwing the ball 3/4. And if you're throwing the ball right over the top, the ball can either go up or down. That's it. When you're throwing 3/4, it could go basically anywhere. Sidearm, it could go basically anywhere. And so this whole Little League elbow thing, they say, well, technically known as medical whatever. A condition is caused by repetitive overhand throwing in children. Now, I guess what they're saying is, yeah, this is an overhand issue, but it's not an over-the-top issue. But the thing that I'm after here is for the coaches that teach little leaguers, for example, pitching coaches or just regular coaches. There really aren't pitching coaches that I know for Little League. But for those that are, here's the issue. They've got these kids throwing curveballs and sliders. First of all, a slider for a pitcher is the worst possible move for your health and for your elbow and your shoulder. Period. It's the worst possible thing to do. You think about the throw and you think about the snap of the wrist. The snap of the wrist is what causes that ongoing issue in the elbow. So do this. You act like you have a ball in your hand. I'm doing it right now. Here, I'll grab a ball. I got a ball in my hand right now. All right, everybody watching on TV, you can see I've got a White Sox ball in my hand, of course, because I'm a big White Sox guy. Hey, you got to like that, folks. I live and die with my White Sox, no matter how good or bad they are. So you got a ball in your hand. Now imagine you're throwing the ball like a fastball, regular over-the-hand fastball. Okay, over, and there's no real wrist snaps, so to say there. Now, if you pick your favorite Little League spinner, your curveball, right? So I'm grabbing it right now. And the motion is, they say, well, when you're a kid, they say, well, act like you're pulling the lampshade or the curtain shade down or something like that, right? Like you're pulling the shade down. Well, what that means is you're using your finger and pulling that window covering down. Well, that's kind of a motion that happens when you're throwing a baseball and you want to throw a curveball. And so what happens is when you do that, put your opposite hand on your elbow. I'm doing it right now. And you could feel the constant movement in your elbow by doing that. Every time you twist your wrist forward, Well, what you're doing is you're tweaking your elbow. And, that funny bone thing, right? So that whole funny bone idea, you're like, oh, ouch, that hurts. Haha, that's funny. Well, not really. You feel that twinge in there. That is your ulnar nerve. So when people say, oh, they had a Tommy John surgery, with the constant tweaking and throwing the junk, throwing the sliders, throwing the curveballs, well, you're constantly wearing and wearing and wearing on that nerve. And you're like, well, why does my elbow hurt? Well, maybe you have something called Little League syndrome if you're a kid. Well, and that's a lot of hard throwing. You're overthrowing, right? Now you're affecting your rotator cuff. But when you think of the nerve just in the elbow alone, because they mentioned Little League elbow, I'm talking about Little League elbow. That would be Wikipedia. And so the reality is, if you're throwing this kind of a pitch, all you're doing as a little leaguer, and frankly, even as an adult, you're damaging your elbow slowly but surely to a point where you're like, ow, it hurts to do anything, and I can't play this game. I need some kind of medical attention. This is the problem. When you're a kid, if you're a pitcher, I was a pitcher. I was able to throw a big 12-6 breaking ball. I had family that played pro ball. I learned how to do it when I was a kid, and I did it on the playground, and I was virtually untouchable on the playground. But I learned how to do it in Little League, and I turned out to be a pretty good pitcher in my pro career. The point is, you're not supposed to do it as a kid, and really what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to throw a changeup to keep the hitters off balance. And the changeup is arguably more effective than a curveball. It'll keep you out there in the game longer and longer, and you could change speeds on both, and that's by finger depth. How close to your fingertips do you have the ball out versus how far into your palm do you have the ball? So there are different ways to look at it, right? But when we think about throwing a changeup, you have the same dynamic. You have keeping the ball all the way back in your palm at the slowest speed with the same motion. You throw it with the same exact motion, or when it's out on the tips of your fingers, which means it's going to go a little bit faster, right? So the depth that you put it inside or closer into your palm is going to dictate how much velocity or a lack thereof is on the ball. This is what kids in Little League need to be taught, rather than throwing curveballs or sliders or anything worse than that, whatever the case. It's real simple to do these kinds of things, and it saves the arm. It saves the shoulder. It saves all that unnecessary stress. And so when I think of pressure and I think of Little League elbow and all these rules and Rule 5.07 in Little League and all this other nonsense, basically, which is pitching, defining legally, delivering the position, wind up, set, It's basically the mechanics of how to deliver a baseball. I mean, kids have a hard enough time paying attention, let alone understanding the mechanics of how to throw a baseball in the first place. I mean, even big leaguers can't seem to get it right. So Little Leagues, they have pitching limits. They have 5-run rules, kind of like the slaughter rule, which used to be a 10-run rule or a 21 rule. And now you get mandatory play rules and all this other stuff. So it's been commercialized, being Little League, to a point where not only is there a ton of pressure being put on the kids, but I do believe that the pressure is undue. But now here's the bigger problem. When these kids are in grade school, if they're super standout players, and I saw this on television not too long ago, there was a kid over in Cuba that was an outstanding, I want to say he was about 12 years old, 11, 12 years old. And apparently, somehow somebody got to him in the pro game from the scouting level, and they either gave the kid some name, image, and likeness money, or they signed him early on to a forthcoming contract. I mean, crazy stuff. We would have never thought of this. We would have never had this when I was a kid. I mean, shoot, when I guess the last time I got paid to play, I was being paid $1,200 a month to play the game. And I was just happy as hell as an adult playing the game that I loved growing up. And so all the pressure with the millions and millions of dollars out there floating around, mom and dad and the guardians, whoever, whatever, pushing the kids to be the best. So maybe mom and dad or the guardians probably won't have to work. And all they think about is what? You got that right. The money that the kid can provide from their skill. This is the ongoing issue. I think that's kind of like the overview of the whole thing. What does it always come back to? Seriously, folks. Show me the money! That's what it is. It's all about the money. And where's the love of the game? Even in card collecting. I've been collecting cards for over 50 years. And I put a post out on one of these Facebook groups saying the difference between the hobby, in quotes, and the card business. And I put a question mark. And most people didn't understand the questions because they don't even know the players. All they're doing is looking at card collecting as a business rather than the love of the game, I guess like I did when I was a kid, and most people my age when they were kids. And the problem is the focus is on money. And the focus is not on the game. It's not on playing the game. It's how much money can I get from the game. I mean, what's the end game? If you've got all the money, does it make you happy? No, absolutely not. I know a lottery winner, and all they did was they blew millions of dollars trying to do what? Trying to win it again, because it was the kill that meant everything. Even in card collecting, I asked some of these people out there, I'm like, well, what are you looking for? Well, we want case hits. Well, we only want case hits. We only want parallels. Whatever happened to collecting your favorite players? Whatever happened to the rookie cards, the mid-career cards, the last year of somebody's career, that kind of thing, like the swan song of it, right? And I remember having Mickey Mantle's last year card. I thought that was such a cool thing because I'm like, all right, I got a 52 Mantle, and now I think it was 1969. In any event, having the two bookends of somebody's career is kind of a cool thing for me. But even the pressure, the financial pressure from Little League to card collecting, then people post, well, you know, my kid just found this card. It's like a $10,000 card, whatever. No, the kid can't afford it. It's the mom and dad blowing mad money to get all these expensive cards and whatnot. Oh, look what my kid just pulled. Your kid didn't just pull that. You pulled it and you said it's for your kid or some crap like that. So listen, stop putting pressure on money. Stop stressing the kids out. Let the kids play Little League. Let the kids play little soccer. Let them play pee-wee football. Let them play squirt hockey. Let them play miniature golf to grown-up golf. Let them play rugby, whatever sport. Let them go swimming, play water polo. Let them play kill the guy with the ball on the playground. Stop pressuring the kids and let the kids be kids. They'll figure out what they want to do, and if they love it or not, this way you're not forcing them. That's going to do it for today's show. I'm your Ringmaster Sal. We'll see you in 23 hours right here on your... Till then, so long, everyone.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. Beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. Beepinautos.com. BEEPIN autos.com. Beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business.
I'm your Ringmaster Sal of the Sports Circus, a primetime nationally syndicated telecontroversy here on Libsyn and all podcast platforms, plus thesportscircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day.
If I was your mother and you had a drug problem, I'd grab you by the ear and make you call and get help. You can be in treatment tomorrow and start to get clean in 7 days. Follow Mom's advice and call the Detox and Treatment Helpline now. Write this number down.
800-814-8628. 800-814-8628. 800-814-8628. That's 800-814-8628.